Hi there, thank you for tuning in to my introduction to MAHRM here in Plymouth. Hopefully you'll find this talk to be quite interesting and quite informative. I'll give you my email addresses at the end, and if you've got any questions, please just drop me an email and we can have a chat about it and arrange a Zoom meeting if that's something that you prefer. Okay, so just to sort of start off really, I think it's quite useful if I give you a little bit of information about HRM generally, and then I can show you how our programme fits into this. So there's a number of things I think that modern workplaces need, and they're just illustrated here in this slide. You can see that in organisations it's very rare that people need to work or completely on their own. Normally you need to work as part of a team, as sort of illustrated here by all those people pulling that boat on that lovely beach. You want people to actually want to go to work, and that's illustrated there by that image just at the top there. You really want your members of staff to feel that when it's work day they actually want to be there, and when they come there, naturally they're going to work harder if they feel that way. They're going to put in that little bit of extra effort whilst they're there if they really want to be there. Organisations and modern workplaces need to work within the law, and that's naturally a central part of any organisation, is to make sure that they're working in line with the appropriate employment law. Your staff need to be rewarded, and I've put an image there of somebody with lots of money, but that's not their only reward that they can have, but they need to be rewarded. And so organisations need to give consideration to that and to what sort of reward packages are going to be appropriate for their organisation. And finally, organisations need to make some sort of profit. And if they're not a for-profit organisation, then they need to make enough money to be sustainable and be sustainable in the future. Any organisation, there will be some conflict, and that will need to be managed. And we go through a module of that to help students to understand how the techniques that you can utilise within the organisation to make sure that you manage the conflict effectively, and hopefully that you can move on with that member of staff and you can make the situation a lot better for them. Increasingly, businesses are working in a global way, and therefore international and comparative HRM is a really important module for the programme to look at how some of these issues translate internationally and some of the sort of challenges and opportunities that come with that. In the first semester we cover leading, managing and developing people, which is quite a broad module which looks at sort of line management elements, but also the elements of leadership. So we cover quite a number of different issues in that module, and students report that it's really kind of interesting and gives them a good sort of broad base to build upon with regard to management more generally. As part of the MIHRM, we do have a research project, and that's an essential requirement that all students undertake an individual research project, and we support you with that with a research methods module to help you understand the process. So when it comes to doing your own research project, you're actually quite excited about that and you know what you need to do. Sometimes students will find that the research project is quite daunting at the beginning, and it's something that students will report that they're quite worried about doing. But often when students get into it and they find a topic that really interests them and that they can really focus on, that's something that they say that they enjoyed most out of all the modules that they did, was their research project, when they focused on the thing that really got them going, that they were really interested in. Some of the key features that I wanted to share with you about the MA and HRM here at Plymouth is that we teach the full-time students and the part-time students together, which I think is a key sort of benefit of the programme. I actually undertook this programme many years ago myself as a part-time student, and it was something that I found was really useful part of the programme, which means that if you're a full-time student, you would study on a Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon, 12 till 6. If you're a part-time student, you do Tuesday in the first year and then Wednesday in the second year, which means that we have a very sort of varied cohort with various levels of experience, industry experience and wider experience, which means that students can learn from each other to sort of mutual benefit, I think. So the fixed days is really quite key and sort of central to our programme, which enables students to manage their life outside of studying. We know lots of people will have other commitments outside of university, so we find that teaching in this way really helps students to manage those commitments. The group size is normally between around 20 and 30, which enables us to have some really, really good discussions. And because of the variety within the cohort, it means that we can have some really quite lively discussions, which is something that I sort of really enjoy as part of my role. So we teach within this, as I said, 20 to 30, and then we normally divide that class up into groups. So we'll normally put you on tables, and then we'll ask you to discuss issues. So the normal sort of layout of a session would be, we would teach you for about 20 minutes, and then on your tables, we would ask you to discuss an issue in more detail. And then we'll come back as a group and share our thoughts, and then bring back some of the literature and research in that area so we can critique it as a group. If students have come directly from undergraduate, we're sort of building on your undergraduate learning. So you'll see some of the modules, they might seem familiar, then some of the titles are quite similar, but please rest assured that we're building on the experience that you've already had. We're not just recapping what you've covered at undergrad, we're building on your experience as part of the process. We also offer students work experience and are happy to help you with that. It's not a formalised arrangement. However, if students are keen to do work experience, because we have a wide range of alumni locally, it's something that we can arrange for you without too much trouble. The program's been going a very long time, which means that we have lots of HR managers who've been through our program who are happy to provide mentorship or support for any of the students through work experience. So if students are keen to gain an internship or work experience, that's something that we'd always be happy to try and help them arrange as much as possible. For all the fees and the scholarship details, the best place to look for that is online, and you can find, if you look at on our webpage, if you literally just sort of search it, you'll see it comes up under the fees and scholarship section. And there's also alumni discounts, and all the sort of details are on there. Generally, for entrance requirements, we're looking for an undergraduate degree at a 2-2 level, plus a clear sort of demonstration interest in HRM. We will take students from a different background if you can sort of demonstrate your interest in HRM, and also if you've done some sort of work experience, we'll really sort of encourage you to do that. Some students do come to us not through doing an undergraduate degree. If you've got significant work experience in the realm of HRM and have undertaken some of the CIPD courses, sometimes we can APAL that across. So what I'd encourage you to do, if you're not quite sure if you meet the entrance criteria, is drop me an email and send me a copy of your CV, and we can go through that and work out if you're suitable for the programme, and if not, how we can kind of help you to become suitable for the programme. One thing that's central to our programme is that you gain your chartered CIPD membership. So it's a level 7 qualification. You don't need to do any additional studies as part of that. You'll automatically get your level 7 membership, providing you pass all of the programme. It's accredited by the CIPD, which is the main sort of professional body for HRM, and something that many organisations are looking for when they're recruiting for HR professionals. They're looking for you to have some level of CIPD qualification. So level 7 is the highest. Once you've got your level 7 qualification, you can become chartered, but that you will need to do an additional information for the CIPD and demonstrate your work experience. But you will have your level 7 as standard, but then you can also gain your chartered membership if you just undertake a little bit more of a process with the CIPD. So with the assessments on the programme, we try to be quite varied to maximise student interest, really. We do have 2 in-class tests. I've put them last on that list, but I think it's probably fairer for me to lead with them. They are a CIPD requirement, so we do need to still have those tests. We try to make every effort to make them as less daunting as possible. They are seen papers and they're open books, so you can take your books into the test with you, so that you can really have an opportunity to showcase your knowledge rather than anyone sort of trying to trick you into sharing information. The individual and group assessments, we find that mix works quite well. Naturally, because it's a professional programme, we're keen for you to also develop your professional skills. So we do have an element of group working, but largely individual actual assessed work. And the assessments go over a number of different mechanisms. We have essays, reports, presentations, and podcasts, case studies. we're constantly sort of changing these methods just to sort of make it as interesting as possible, so you don't kind of just have to repeatedly do the same thing, and that you can gain new skills along the way. Again, as it's a professional programme, we really try to focus on student enrichment and development of your own sort of professional network. So there's a number of events that we try to put on for the students and to liaise with the local COPD branch for students to attend. For example, the local COPD conference. Last year we attended Plymouth Argyle, and they did a brilliant day for us. We went up there for the afternoon, and they gave us a number of talks about their business and how their funding arrangements and some of the HR challenges that they have and how they overcome them. In previous years, we visited the Theatre Royal. The purpose being that you can develop your professional network as part of the programme. So when it comes to vacancies coming up, for example, you can ask for advice from the HR managers that you've met, who you might have gone there to on a sort of a trip, or it might be that they've come in to do a guest speaker programme for us. And we utilise guest speakers quite regularly because, again, of our alumni network, and we find that's a really good opportunity for students to develop their professional networks. It might be that they can provide you a bit of advice. It might be that they hear about vacancies that come up. So we really try and put on events quite regularly for students, some really large events, some quite small events, but the purpose being that you can develop your professional network, and as students you can also sort of have an enriching experience and get a lot out of it. I'm really proud of our level of employability that we have with the programme, and I've just listed here some of the jobs that people have gone on to do after the programme. I think the employability element of the programme is really quite central. It's something that's very important to myself and the programme team. And I think one of the key reasons students have such good employability is because of the number of networking opportunities in the classroom and outside of the classroom that are available to students. And the students who obtain the best roles after graduation are the students who really engage with that programme, students who really talk to the guest speakers and who have tried to obtain work experience and to try and learn more about other people's sort of journey into HR and how they developed in the career that they've got now. Just to conclude, really, I think it's quite useful if you can hear what our students say. It's all very well for me to tell you how great I think the programme is as programme leader, but I think it's also quite useful to hear what our students have got to say. And ordinarily, I would ask one of our students to come and talk to you, but naturally in this Zoom-based world that we're working in now, this is the only sort of medium that I have. But this is just some quotes from our cohort from last year when we did the end of programme feedback. And as you can see, the students are almost reiterating what I've said earlier on in the presentation, that students are finding that the programs are well run, the modules are well run, and the pace of delivery is good. The guidebooks that we provide students with are clear and concise, and that we give you a lot of time and a lot of support. And I know that's something that's very important to myself and all of the programme team, is that we provide you with as much opportunity for support as you need. All of our research is heavily informed by our teaching. All of our teaching team are actively researching as well in their area, and therefore students can feel confident that the information that they're getting is really underpinned by recent research. And our teams work with a number of bodies to undertake research for them and work closely with them as a sort of way of developing their own professionalism generally. And this is just an example of some of the bodies that we've worked with as a programme team. I think it's really important that the lessons that you get are really current and are something that are really sort of up to date, and that's something that all of the programme team think is very important in your lectures, to make sure that the lectures that you receive are going to be very up to date. Okay, I'm sure you've heard quite enough from me, but here's my contact details. So jasmine.kelland@plymouth.ac.uk. If you've got any questions, any things that I've talked about, please email me and we can arrange for a Zoom chat. Sometimes these things are a lot better done face to face, so Zoom will be the best mechanism for that. So please get in contact and I'll happily discuss any queries with you. Sometimes when people email me with queries, they often start the email with, I feel it's such a silly thing to be emailing about, but please don't worry. It doesn't matter how big or small the query is. I'd much rather you were asking me and I could try and find a way around the issue that you have and that you still join us. So please, even if you're just kind of very speculative at the moment, drop me an email and we can try and arrange a chat to discuss it in more detail. Thank you.